How's it going? I'm Dave Hynes. I'm Roan Hynes' dad, who plays in Terror Syndrome, aka Terror Syndrome, one-man synth metal project. He was born in 2005. He grew up, I suppose, he was always fascinated with one thing. He'd put his mind to something and he would just like study it, you know, and just was obsessed with that one thing. I suppose as he was growing up through the years, music was always a huge part in our household. So you'd hear anything from ABBA, you know, up to Sun, you know, Neurosis, all that kind of stuff. So in the car was a very important environment for me to kind of like not lead them down the path, you know, where I went, you know, with my musical tastes. I always wanted to kind of show them what proper music meant to me, and it didn't matter what you listened to as long as it had substance and as long as it meant something. So I would play Beach Boys 1 minute, you know, tell them all about Beach Boys because I love the fucking Beach Boys. Tell them about Beach Boys, and then the next minute it could be Neurosis, you know, explaining what Through Silver and Blood meant to me, you know, that kind of way. And that was when they were very small. And Rowan, I suppose the first signs that he showed that he wanted to play himself was when he heard Black Sabbath. You know, Tony Iommi, riff master. So I think those riffs are so catchy. You know, they're almost like a children's fairy tale or a rhyme, you know, you just know them straight away. And he learned Iron Man, and I remember like I was coming upstairs and I could hear him trying to learn the riff of Iron Man, and I was like, what the hell? And I went in and I was like, Rowan, do that again. And he almost had the first couple of notes done, and I'd never shown him anything before that. And it was my old Epiphone he had at the time, and he was about 11 or 12 at that stage. And so I said, right, okay, I need to show you the basics first and all that, you know, because I always kind of said to Paula, my wife, his mother, that I wouldn't force any instruments on them. I always wanted them to take it up for themselves and have the passion. So I took him into a room, showed him chords, hated them. All he wanted to play was power chords. So I suppose the 2-finger power chord, the E5 all the way up along, and he learnt them first. And then he perfected the Iron Man riff eventually. But like, I remember just, I left him with the chords, and like, it seems like only a few weeks that he just grasped it straight away, and like he went on his own with it and was like chugging, like looking up on YouTube, you know, how do you chug, how do you palm mute, all that kind of stuff. And he just went with it. Then he was asking me, oh, how do you record, you know, how do you do that? And you know, so I showed him the basics of Reaper, and like he's very tech minded anyway. So again, he just went with that, took it onto his laptop, I suppose downloaded legally some bits, and maybe other bits not so much. But yeah, so he started recording himself. At the start, it was like pure metal kind of stuff with like plug-in drums and all that kind of stuff, just to make it sound like a metal band. And he'd get me to play lead guitar over them as well, And so it started out at that. Like, to be honest, I mean, I never was into the kind of synth side of things. I did have a project with my wife, Paula, at one stage, and that was very electro kind of orientated, kind of real ambient kind of stuff. So I don't know, did he hear us doing that? You never know what you can hear, coming from the room. And did he take that? Did he take the plugins I was using with my synth stuff? With what I was doing with Paula. Actually, we were called Al Roland, which is a mixture of Alana, Roan, and Kaelan together. So it was family orientated again. But so he took those synth sounds, I think, and he was also into the 80s kind of horror kind of genre. So the synth sounds that you'd hear on the horror movie stuff, he took that and then joined it up with his metal or whatever. And I haven't gone into too much detail with him how he came up with that sound himself, but I do know that Dance of the Dead was a big part of it. So he took that and then he just came up with Terror Syndrome, and that, that's where he is today, and he's here tonight supporting us. This is absolute mindfuck, to be honest. Like my daughter, her band support, and then Roan is next in Terror Syndrome, and then ourselves, who haven't gigged in 17 years. But very proud moment for me to have my two kids. It's unreal, surreal. But the other thing I forgot to mention about Roan is that he doesn't give a fuck what people think. It's always something I was so proud of him. Going up through school, he'd be the absolute outlier in school. What he wore, what he listened to. He went to Mallow school, and Mallow isn't known, for a kind of a scene, I suppose. But he never gave a shit. He listened to what he listened to. Even the style of music he's playing now, there's nothing like it really around Cork. He filled a niche, and he's doing it so well. So look, I just hope he keeps going with it, and fair fucks to him.
I'm Roan Hynes. My music is Terror Syndrome. It's kind of like synthwave metal stuff you'd hear from like Dance of the Dead, Midnight Danger, Carpenter Brute, that kind of stuff. So very kind of retro, mixed with metal, kind of like dance music, mixed with metal, yeah. So basically, for recording, even though there's like actual synthesizers, I'd actually mostly just write on my guitar, and I'd actually just program the synths like through MIDI. Because before I started like recording and playing shows, I was never ever a keyboard player, synth player. I only actually started playing the keyboard when I started to do gigs, because I was like, yeah, the tracks are cool, but like I'm not just gonna go on stage and just like have me playing guitar. I need to do like the synth as well. And even later shows, it's a pure 50-50, like half the set I'm playing synth, half. Like even like, I'd say it's even more 70%. Like a lot of times now, I'm actually just learning more of the keyboard. So yeah. Kind of like when I'm recording mostly guitar, but live it's a lot of the keyboards, learning back to stuff. Once a track, it actually takes like pretty quick, depending. Like if it's a massive burst and I'm just so motivated throughout the entire day, I could even finish like a rough mix in a day or two. And then like, the next few days just figuring out the sweet spot for mixing, because like sometimes mixing electronic music can get fucking like really, really painful, like getting the drums, like is the compression too tight, is it too not enough? So yeah, it's so like quick enough, like not too bad. I don't think I have probably like criticized myself as heavy. I think it's more like I think the most critical I've been is like whenever I'm practicing like the backing tracks on my live gigs. Like I would think doesn't sound that good. Like I heard feedback, it sounds good as well, but like I think it's also like the mixing Like sometimes I would like mix a track, let's say using the exact same techniques, like 2 months earlier, but then the later months I'm doing the same mixing, but it sounds off to me, so I just kind of like evolving. So like, okay, I have to change it up, so it kind of gets more frustrating. But in terms of critical, I don't know, I never really thought that much, because like critical, I haven't really like been too critical. I just kind of went with it, really. Well, the main band definitely is Dance with the Dead, because like even if like people like whenever I play a Dance with the Dead song, I know one time I have like my ringtone is a Dance with the Dead song, and it went off, and I was with my sister, and my sister was like, "Is that your song? Why'd you have your song as a ringtone?" I was like, "No, it's Dance with the Dead." So yeah, definitely Dance with the Dead, but obviously Midnight Danger, he's another massive synthwave artist he's from Sweden. Dance with the Dead are obviously US, they're a two-piece. But yeah, definitely them, because I remember I discovered them in a school. It was in, TY? I think it was transition year, yeah. I was in a computer class and I was just putting on music just to have backing music. So like I always had like one of their tracks on like a random playlist that I saved. So I went back to them and I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool, it's like kind of dance, but then I specifically listened to the album Love to Death and the song Salem, and the melody mixed with like guitars and everything is like the instrumental for metal just seems like it was meant to be mixed with that stuff. So it was like, yeah, I want to do that because it's so manageable. I don't have to learn how to sing or anything. I can just make that type of stuff, so yeah. Well, I say definitely like 80s horror films and stuff. Because like sometimes whenever I'm writing a song, like, or if I'm like, for example, I'm actually writing a song right now, and like I'm kind of having this kind of sci-fi horror influence on it, so I kind of have like, if it's like sci-fi horror, okay, space, I'm gonna have the track be melodic, not really heavy, kind of more like that like main like title or main theme kind of sound where it's like slower, there's like more emphasis on the bass rather than like as much as chugging rhythm guitar. But sometimes if it's like the influences, let's say like the Doom games or something, it would be more kind of like that. So like 80s horror in general is just like what my stuff sounds like, you know. In terms of it being on physical format, not really, because like obviously like if I did come out with CDs and stuff, like I do have people that would buy them, but like, you know, there's like just a lot of synthwave or like artists like that. Like there's some artists that's pure digital, so I never really like worried about any physical formats at all. Like I just kind of like went with it. But, like definitely down the line I would love to do like CDs or like cassettes, because it fits like kind of the retro aspect of it. So yeah. Irish metal scene is definitely like, you know, something special, because if you're, let's say, a metalhead from like the US or like maybe even UK or like, I don't know, Germany, Sweden, like wherever, Irish metal scene, like even if you're part of it, like we're self-aware that like, yeah, no one's gonna ever think of the scene when it comes to metal. Like they'll even think of like other places, you know, like what is it, Romania, they think of like Indonesia, they think of like Japan, but like Ireland will just like barely come up. Like yeah, they'll maybe be like, oh yeah, I heard Primordial are from Ireland. Oh yeah, Gamma Bomb. Yeah, they've been showing up a few like times. But yeah, I think the scene, it also kind of depends on the county, because like the scene can be like a little bit different depending on the county. Like, you know, Limerick, it's like I feel like Limerick probably has one of the biggest in terms of like how many people. Like obviously, like, you know, Siege is in Limerick. Dublin, I feel like is kind of more like old school in a way. Like there's way more thrash metal, death metal. It's definitely like the more old school metalheads, like the older ones, like they all have, you know, the vest, so it's the more kind of like 80s kind of 90s style. But I feel like specifically talking about Cork, it's definitely gone a bit more modern, but I feel like the great thing about Cork scene is that yeah, it's so small, and maybe if, let's say if you're a big fan of thrash, like there's really like not that much thrash, but like the thing with here is that like it's more like a family. So it's like, you know, like you basically know everyone here. So it's like if you're going to a gig, it's not going to be like thing, or like if you're playing a gig, you're not really worried about like zero people being there than you would maybe Dublin and Limerick, because they're so spaced out. It's more like, oh yeah, I know like at least like 3 people I know are going. But yeah, I think the Irish metal scene is definitely something that has to be looked at more internationally as well, because like there really is a lot of stuff that people have to be discovering in the scene. That's like a lot of, especially up and coming stuff like recent years, that's really like, you can tell like it's going to get pretty big in like 10 years. Like I think it'll be massive, like really. as a musician, I think it's definitely been like a place here like Fred's. Like it's so easy. Like it felt like really easy for me to get a gig here just because like I already knew some people, and even just booking a gig on your own, you know, like shout out to all the Fred staff like Tom, Caroline would work like the emails and stuff. Like it just seems so easy, you know. Obviously you have to find a date, but like it's just so easy to get a gig. And like a musician, like everyone, like they're obviously not harsh to the point where like, you know, they just like say like they don't like your stuff without criticism, just be like, oh, you're crap, well, you know. It's always like kind of like a school in a way. It's like, oh yeah, you know, do this. It's never too harsh, and like everyone's like a family, so it's like super easy to get started and stuff. And the crowds are always great, like especially Cork. Like crowds can get mental sometimes. Like. Next few months, I am working on how many singles? I think like 2 or 3 songs at the moment. Next, like I released as Daylight Falls back 1st of March. So next thing will probably just be an EP. And my Halloween gig here in Fred's, I did play like an unreleased track, but like the mixing, I still go back and fix that. But I might release that. But then there's like a few other songs I might release as well. But yeah, just hopefully release something, more gigs, and hopefully more merchandise type stuff. So yeah, we'll see how it goes anyways. This last song is for all the Prodigy fans here.
so strange. When the truck will have to be ever hear something and go beat their fucking minds. Are you ready? This one's for Keith fucking Flint.